And next verse is taking refuge. And taking refuge is quite very important. Why? Because this, in the relative moment, we are taking everywhere. It's difficult to manage it. Since when we born, we take refuge in our parents. Ask to say, I'm a weakness. Please, could you help me in order to become strong or to mature? Until there is, we cannot to manage. We're taking refuge in our parents. And we need a source of refuge. And also it's like our parents are not definitive source of refuge. And of course, after we are kind of become adult, we taking refuge in the school, teachers, and to others. Please, can you teach me human language, human sculptures, human cultures, and in order to survive in this life, and in order to manage my life, I'm taking refuge in those things. And there are many things there are the source of the refuges. But the best source of refuge is Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. That is the most important. In here, this last, I think, is the preliminary aspect. It is the taking the refuges. Certainly taking refuge, which is the gateway to the teaching of the Dharma. When we enter into the Dharma, it is very important to taking refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. There are many, many different meanings. And one is the opening door of the Dharma. First, we need to take refuge. And also is the without taking refuge, it is difficult to receive any teaching of the Dharma. Why? Because when we taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, that means when we are really enthusiastic in Buddha and kind of as inspired in Buddha, and we discovered this person or this being is as the enlightenment, best spiritual friend, best my guide, best my teacher. And then we are taking refuge into that Buddha. And that is it's necessary. When we are really have this kind of notion or the sense, the understanding quality of the Buddhas, and then we study the Dharma, then Dharma is the meaning of Dharma automatically coming into our minds. Whenever we listen Dharma, we have enthusiastic, inspired, interest. Wow, yeah, it's Buddha's teaching, truth teaching, direct teaching, unmistakable teaching. I will to go to realize it. If we haven't got any interest to the Buddha, then there's no interest to the Dharma. And of course, then it's like someone's practice Dharma, there's nothing kind of interest. Therefore, it's like taking refuge. There's many different meanings. The sentences goes like this. The worldly gods are also bound to the person of the samsara. Whom could they ever protected? For those they protected, the three jewels are infallible. To take refuge in them as a Bodhisattva practice. And we are going to take refuge in three jewels or three rares, which is Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. They are infallible because we can to say it, Buddha is infallible because he took the right path and he practiced right path of the compassion. He realized right level of the compassions, and then he's telling to the truth of the compassion, impartial compassions, and what we need to do, what we need to do it. And because his is knowledge, and his omniscient perspective, his knowledge is inconceivable, and understand the correct and incorrect things, and therefore infallibles. And of course, he has such 8 qualities, and like comes 3 things is like comes realization of the abandonment, and 3 things are comes from the adopting or the realization's perspective, and then this true part is included. That is like 8 qualities of the Buddhas. We need to study these 8 qualities of the Buddhas. Very important. I make the joke. For example, if you believe God, if you follow the God, when you pray the God, we need to learn God, which kind of sentient beings, how He created, how we can need to connect to the God, how we can to make the relation with the God. It's very important. Just to say God is in this living in the space, He all the time control 2 hours. I don't know. I have like a kind of there's problems. I need to some certainties like this meaning in the then is we can to follow. Exactly when we follow the Buddha's path, when we are like taking refuge in the Buddha, we need to learn the Buddhas. Like he was as human beings, and he born in India, and that is our representative, the Buddha. General Buddha is Buddha, but the representative Buddha is Buddha Shakyamuni. And he appeared in this world, in India, what he did. There is a pure biographies, his stories, and his whole is his lives. And also we come to study his speech, and his 84,000 teachings. Any kind of other spiritual friends or spiritual guides cannot teach like this. And also it's like his teachings, what he founded in his mind. And he says, what I founded in my mind is profound, it's a truth, it's deep, it's truth, it's a large, it's a truth, and it's the peace, it's truth. He never discovered something object outside us, outerly. He discovered it in his mind, and then he's telling 2 hours. What he discovered, he's discovered inner own potential, individual own potential of the own Buddha nature, the nature of the mind. To understand that, then you understand all the phenomena. You understand right and wrongs, everything clearly in their mind. Like this. Then it's like, of course, not only the maybe is Buddha Shakyamuni, maybe in this world there are many different Buddhas enlightened. And also in the sculptures to say there are many different Buddhas. And maybe appear in this world, sometimes we can to see, sometimes it's difficult to see. But of course there are all the times. But anyway, we are taking refuge in the Buddhas. Whoever be enlightenment, whoever's realized the impartial compassion, and the non-conceptualization of the wisdoms, and then we follow to this kind of sentient beings. It doesn't matter this Buddha is Western or Eastern, South or North, white or black or brown. And if someone is to be enlightenment, and that is our source of the Buddhism. Because other there is gods and demigod and relate to the worldly samsaric things. We cannot to take refuge in this because they are still like a prisoner of the samsaras. Maybe their mind is not yet liberated. In this perspective, they cannot protect to ours. They cannot to teach to ours. Maybe they can to teach some in things, but they all the time is error. They all the time is something is like difficult to accept things. And therefore it sometimes be these modern times. All the time is science, our like modern religious, modern kind of our path, modern things we are source of refuge. Everybody say I'm taking refuge in the science. Because maybe in the future science to kind of find something our happiness. It's just the truth, maybe something fun, but most intelligent science is also like a kind of, how to say, destroying to all the different religions, because their analysis, their investigation is very profound, very deep, and then is each spiritual teacher's teachings, they analyze. Sometimes they found it ridiculous things. It's like kind of not logical things. And then is they put the ask questions. They're difficult to give answer. There's like philosophical, many things. And then it's like science, I want to believe like this kind of things. But it's like now, it's like we can to look at the Buddha's philosophicals. There's like more and more science be happy because they can combine, they can more rely on in the holiness, for example, basically in the groundly, maybe it's the analysis of the Buddhist or the analysis of the science. Science is the more deep than almost the Buddhism. But they are supporting each other. Some of our Buddhist people say, holiness, what are you doing? You want to destroy the Buddha's path? He said, no, I'm going to make it more clear, like a kind of clarifying the Buddha's teachings. If science to find some defects of Buddha's teachings, some is the kind of ridiculous things found in the Buddha's teachings, he said, I never follow Buddha's teachings. Like this, and then is the based analysis is like they can to supporting each other. And then in the middle path, then is the Buddhism is the more philosophy, is more top than the, for example, and the science, our science, there's no path, there's no creation. And that is the obvious. It is, for example, we can just say in the path, which kind we need to meditate, which kind of we need to path. And I don't know, this created the path? No. And the Buddhist analysis, path, result. And this process is like them more deeper and deeper. Like this kind of, therefore, it's generally some is like many spiritual paths. We have problems modern generations, because modern generations more intelligent than the old. Modern generations is like more precise, more decisive, more definitive of the knowledge is there. And then is there there is like kind of they have such knowledges. Therefore, worldly God or something is you call the Buddha, and something is called the God. This it's difficult to take refuge, but we want to take refuge because the worldly these things cannot protect us. And then second, our Jews or rare is the Dharma. Is whatever teachings come from the who is be enlightened man. We are follow this. We study this. Dharma is our path. Excellent. And also is like third one is like the source of refuge is the Sangha. Sangha is whoever practice the bodhicitta, the compassions. That is our best friend. And then is this best friend can teach to us boundless good things to us, and all the times, and to give to us qualities. And like this, and also it's like a worldly God, these things are such and themselves as the prisoner of the samsaras, suffering origination of the karmas. Still is negative emotions, they have existence. And therefore, how they can could any of them protect individual another sentient beings, and cannot to take like kind of protect to other sentient beings. And if we want to free from the inferior low realms, and also if we want to be in the state of the omniscient, it is very important to take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. That is the great, the object, the source of the refuges. when we take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, surrounding ourselves with totally confidence in the precious, these three jewels of the Buddha and Dharma, Sangha, and which are at all times naturally failing, and which is the possess and definitive ability to protect one from all the fears of the existence and the temperation of the peace. Therefore, we are talking about this excellent resource of the refuges, Buddha, Dharma, Sanghas. Okay, now I'm going to, maybe it's a little bit just, sorry.